Greetings, Taekwondo family. Welcome once again to Miami Minutes, the show that is sharp as a knife when it comes to the movie masterpiece that is Miami Connection. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And we remember what those guys did to his nose. It's me, Niall McGowan, here to talk about one of those things, a minute of people sitting around doing nothing. And there's so much to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And all the nothing that they're doing.
It's marvelous. The whole, I don't want to call it the trajectory of the minute, just the mise en scène. Everything we're just taking in, absorbing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's so much to literally every shot. There's something worth commenting on. It's one of those things of like, well, yeah.
So this is minute 48. The minute starts with a West Side Story, and it ends with the invention of parkour. It's got to be, right? It's got to be.
Yeah. The ending would more remind me of, not because this guy's running at least, but it just reminded me at the end of, you remember Con Air?
Yes,
that bit where they're out in the desert, and then Danny Trejo has been put on watch, and there's a bit of him like whipping off a shirt and going, "Hey, we got company! We got company!" It's the same. They just got the same vibes.
Oh my god! Yeah. I can see it. I can hear it. I can feel it.
Yeah. Although that's the. We really should have had more of a. Well, let's say at the same time, we should have had like more of a strict like write down the nicknames we were giving everybody. So it's like, oh yeah, that's that guy who we made a name for like 7, 8, 9 weeks ago, and now I'm just like, oh yeah, he's a
which
bug guy or whatever.
Which one?
The guy who ends up running across the tanker and stuff at the end. I'm pretty sure he's one of the guys like who we've commented on before.
Oh, see, I didn't even realize that was one of the guys. I think you're right, actually, looking at him, yeah.
But I say, like, oh, we should have done that. What? We still don't know the names of all the main characters.
No, exactly. Who cares? The listeners are supposed to be paying attention to this and filling in the wiki. Come on. What are you doing, losers?
We do get the opening shot, though. We do get a couple of recognizable faces. Like, one, literally, who was only introduced last week, to be fair.
But Bob?
Yeah, we got Barb. Barb Bagetza. Looks a bit like both Barb and Batman, I guess. Anna Bagetza.
Bob Bagetza. Yes, I love it.
And then the background there, you got Vader. The return of Vader.
Yeah.
He's lurking on, doing some whittling.
Big Van Vader himself. I am. We need to delve into what he's doing with that knife. We'll get to that. I'm fascinated.
I think 100% he's doing like the ball in the cage project.
Oh.
I remember that was a big thing online a couple of years ago, where it's like it was a whittling challenge.
Yeah,
where people just got a block of wood and then you had to sort of whittle it into a ball in a cage, and you would you'd move the cage up and down, the ball would go from side to side. You just had to perfect that. That was like a big thing in like 2012 or something like that.
It's weird how these things become cool for literally like 6 weeks.
Yeah. That was a big thing. It's like the ball in the cage, brother. And now me saying like, a couple of years ago, that's over a decade ago now.
Yeah, but we're at that age where that feels like it was like last week.
Yeah. Then you got, of course, Anthony Kiedis there over in the far left.
He looks exactly like someone I just met recently in a band.
Anthony Kiedis? Did you mean?
I met Anthony Kiedis, yes. We're good friends, No, he, a musician in a band called, well, actually, I don't want to say now because they might be insulted. Yeah, he looked exactly like this. It's fucking weird.
But I think there are quite a few guys who look like this, though. This is a distinct look. I've met a couple of these guys in my time.
Yeah,
just throughout the years, it's like, yeah, you just get this. This is people just like the old straggly hair and mustache look and the kind of.
Well, and also if you have those two things, I feel like they always have the top off. You've got to, right?
Although I have some theories as to why the tops are off, but I'll wait until later on because
is it a shirts and skins scenario?
It could be, but then he's got this hat as well. We only see the one side, so it's pink something.
Yeah,
it's not the hat itself, not pink, but it says pink. And you're like, is it pink berry? Is that where he works? He's like, I had to knock off early to come down to the Rumble, you know.
See, I thought it said something else, but what I thought it said is not cool, right?
Oh.
Well, I mean, I don't think someone like him would think it was cool. I thought it was Pink Floyd.
Oh, could be Pink Floyd. But
that doesn't seem badass. But then again, this entire movie, they try and make people look badass and fail.
Yeah, but he's hanging out with Dexys Midnight Runners, this guy. Yeah. Like he might have a fantastic music taste. You never know.
That's true. I mean, we actually have we haven't talked about the elephant in the room, really. This is clearly them down at the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
The aforementioned railroad tracks, which confuses me, right? I don't understand the timeline. Because wasn't the railroad track meeting supposed to be last night?
Oh, no, I had so many questions about how they all... Because at one point later in the minute, like someone's like, what time you got? And it's like, oh, they should have been here ages ago. Literally last night? Is that what you're saying? Like, they should have been here like... whole night. Yeah, they've been here like for freaking 9 hours now. Like, what the hell are these guys going to show up to?
And again, I'll defend the movie on one point, right? I don't think we were ever explicitly told it was last night.
No, but we were never told any time, as I recall, because we in that minute we were just like, so when is it? Just like the railroad tracks, when? Like, you just have to move in down there. Yeah. I guess so just wait it out and see. Like, they'll be here eventually. Like maybe 5 years time they'll show up.
Meet us in 6 to 8 weeks. And we'll give you a slot.
Yeah. Although to be fair, like Jeff. He looked like he was in business form last we saw him, which was last night when Jane came around to give him an earful. It actually looks like, to me, there's a vibe of everyone being hungover in this.
100%, yeah.
And Jeff, the main culprit, because it looks like you could pass that as the same shirt he was wearing, but it's just all a bit ripped now.
Yeah.
And he's just there with the sunglasses, just like, oh, dear God, why did I have to schedule the Rumble for the next day? Like, Jesus Christ, it's a terrible idea.
I assume Jeff and his guys are basically always hungover, you know?
Either constantly hungover or constantly on coke. It seems to be...
well, the coke is to get over the hangover.
Yeah. I've never tried cocaine as a hangover cure. I don't know if it's a recommended...
No.
I'm supposed to give it some mad adrenaline. Would that... Any listeners out there who have, delved into, like, oh, what if I did a little bump the next day to get past the hangover? Would that just be the worst idea ever? Or was like, no, that's the clear-cut hangover cure that nobody wants to tell you about.
I don't know. I could imagine it backfiring. I could imagine there's some big negative to doing it. But not being a coke person, I don't really know.
This is about the whole next day you end up partying, and then you're just even more hungover the following day.
God damn it!
Somebody has you can see the fact he's got the sunglasses on. It could have been like, he fell asleep or something in the party too hard, fell asleep in the gym. Now he got the eyebrows shaved off in the classic. That's why he's had the sunglasses on to cover up the fact like they're not there anymore.
Yeah,
classic male hijinks. These are the definite type of guys who would hang around, get drunk, pass out, and then draw like dicks on each other's faces and stuff.
Oh, maybe not Jeff. Not on Jeff. No, if you do it to Jeff, you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you. But to each other.
Yeah, he would literally destroy you. Yeah. But like Vader and whatnot. I'm sure he's probably had the eyebrows shaved. He's probably had all sorts drawn in his face. And there's that guy too in the background. Speaking of Vader, because it just reminded me of. See this guy way up in that tanker, just way in the distance, which is a nice effect, to be fair to show. And they've got guys everywhere. They've got them from all angles and stuff.
Yeah, they're scoping out the terrain.
And there was a thing I never noticed until recently, and someone pointed out with in The Empire Strikes Back, when, in Hoth, when Leia's given her kind of like motivational speech to like the people, like getting ready to go on the...
One of my favourite bits of the movie.
Yeah, you see in the way in the background... Because prior to that, you'd seen that like Han Solo was working on the Falcon. You can see him in the background, with the welding, the torch or whatever. And when Leia's giving her speech, you see that he's actually stopped and he's paying attention to what he's actually taking the time out to be like, what's because clearly he has a thing for Leia, and he's just like, what you saying? What you he had, might be a sign of respect there, and he's like,
yeah,
I want to hear she's a good leader. I want to hear what you're saying to the troops or
I'll
whatever.
be honest, I never noticed. But I suppose you're paying attention to her so much that
yeah. Oh, it was one of those things that was only pointed out to me recently. Someone posted the scene and just mentioned that was in the background. I was like, oh yeah, that is there. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, sometimes. Although it could also be as well. They're like, no, that was just the complete coincidence. He's probably like the extra who was doing it in the background was mid saying something to the guy in the Chewbacca outfit or something.
But don't ruin it. It was lovely until you said that. It was a nice story.
But yeah. So we got into all these guys now. We got that's what we're going to call him, Andy Kiedis, but we call but now we got the Pink Floyd thing there. So the Pink Hot Chili Pepper, that would be a good name for him.
I like any of these, but you know what? He's topless. Take a drink.
Oh, true, yeah. Oh, there's so many topless guys in this.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a few drinks, people. Prep, get ready, pour them shots.
I'm noting, too, that Jeff has got that thing where he's got, like, no sleeves on the T-shirt, but then he's got the it looks as if he's ripped the sleeves off his T-shirt and then wound them around his wrists as some sort of, like, sweat bands or whatever. It's like, I'm not looking tough enough. I better, give me a second. Shh. There you go. This will make me look more badass.
Hey, I used to always be a fan of the sweatband. I used to wear them a lot.
No, but I remember the early 2000s was an era of the sweatband.
Yeah.
Like, I remember those... The lamest person you can bring up in regards to it, but I remember Avril Lavigne making the wristband a big thing.
But she did it because her, I'm not knocking her here, but her label were like, let's make it kind of punk. And who wore those? Oh, Sid Vicious wore those. Give her them. It's like, yeah, it's a bit different.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't the glittery. Like, she probably already had the style. It probably was influenced by Sid Vicious and stuff back in the day.
Oh, I don't know. She started off doing like country music and stuff, didn't she?
Avril Lavigne?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember the early stuff being a bit more mellow, but you always had the kind of punky kind of look to her. And then she had that, was this
I'm
a
talking
Taylor's...
about prior to Skater Boy.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever delved even further back into the past of Avril Lavigne.
Let me see as well, I think.
I know Taylor Swift started off that way, but...
Let me see. Career beginnings.
She invented the sweat wristband. What the hell?
She invented punk.
Oh.
No, here you go. I think I'm right because it mentions how in 1999 she won a contest to perform with Shania Twain.
Oh.
And I mean, Shania Twain, country.
I mean, so what? You played with Shania Twain? That doesn't impress me much. Avril.
Impress me much. I'm 99% sure that's how she started, but at the same time, this is a very big article, and I don't want to sit here reading it the whole time. But the point is, no matter what the reason, it's clearly to be like Sid Vicious because he wore that white, blue, and red sweatband.
Although you never know, maybe Jeff just has very sweaty wrists. It's a real concern for him. It's like,
that's the thing. As much as I like sweatbands, I've never had a particularly sweaty wrist.
No, me neither. But then I'm not working out as much as Jeff, to be fair. So
yeah, that's true. I only work out half as much as Jeff. I work out 7 hours a day.
Yeah. Although he seems to like too, because like he's obviously keeping a strict eye on that gym. I feel if you missed sessions and stuff too, he'd be on your ass. He'd say, I noticed you weren't in there last week. Well, what happened there?
Oh, that's what it would be as well. It wouldn't be aggressive. It'd be like passive aggressive or something. It would be like, I noticed you've not been showing up lately.
Can you not feeling the burn?
Yeah.
Jeff put a fire up your ass, man.
Oh.
Although I was going to say that's what it takes to be in the gang. Like he's got high standards, Jeff. But then we see some of the guys he's got in this gang.
Yeah.
But he's got two guys in particular. I'm like, what are they doing there? Why would you bring these guys to this?
I do think it's a bit baffling. Like Jeff seems to acknowledge that in the movie, though. It seems like Jeff is kind of rolling his eyes. Oh God, this is the best I can get. Great. And you know what? Jeff's a pretty good bad guy. He deserves better goons.
He deserves a better. He's a better class of criminal.
He is.
Jeff.
He's not just a regular. I think that's why Yoshito gets on with him because he's like, okay, yeah, he's a street tough, but there's something about this guy. He's got something.
Yeah, I wish I would address because I sort of took it to me as presented. It was just like the movie was like, yeah, this is his like fierce gang of cronies. You kind of look at them like they all look a bit crap, man. Because you got of course you have Vader up there, Whitland. You got a bit more of a close up of him. There with the ball in the cage and doing the whole. Every time I see someone whittling now, it just makes me think of Agent Cooper in the first episode of Twin Peaks.
Yes,
sitting in the car waiting and just like, do you want to ask me why I'm whittling? Like, why are you whittling?
You've got to if someone says that. You're like, okay, fine. Why are you whittling?
That's what you do in a town where the yellow light still means slow down, not speed up. Although I'm assuming though this must be like early morning though, because there's no noise, there's no like traffic in the distance or something. Although I know in a town like Orlando, does it ever sleep? Like, is it just one of those ones? It's like it's a city, so. Like, if you go into Liverpool, 4:30 a.m., it's still hopping. Like, it's just
but there will be places that are quiet like this, surely. Like, is this an abandoned railroad track, maybe?
I would think we just go around the corner. It's just like a load of guys. Or like a load of people, families is all waiting to go on their day trip down.
That'd be amazing. Although you mentioning how quiet it is, that's actually something I did pick up on. And I say this a lot. I know I do. But it's just something about that kind of atmosphere. The silence and the stillness coupled with the noise of Big Van Vader there scraping. That coming in over and over and over, and there's no other sound, made me think of like what you'd get in Twin Peaks or something. You can imagine that, and it'd be 5 minutes. Just
I actually thought it was more of a deliberate reference, though. Of all the things of like, we've pointed out that YK can be, whether it be YK or it be Richard Park. Occasionally incompetent in the making of the movie.
What?
But this really strikes me as it's like an homage to the beginning of Once Upon a Time in the West, a Sergio Leone movie. Because the opening credits of that are all pretty much in silence.
Yeah.
And it's like three guys waiting for. It turns out to be Charles Bronson shows up, and it's just them. Like, there's like a fly buzzing around, and it's them sitting like fiddling a thing, going doing, doing. And it just has this thing of like these guys are sitting waiting for this inevitable battle to come. And it's the same exact atmosphere as presented here. So this does seem as if like they had the wherewithal to be like, well, make it a bit like that scene in that great classic movie that came out like 15 years ago to, time of making of Miami Connection, I guess. But,
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think this is a reference. Or at least they're trying to do something similar.
Yeah. A lot of people would probably point out then, though, because Sergio Leone stole so much of that from Japanese cinema. And so they'll be like, well, that's actually, if you watch one of the old Toshiro Mifune movies, like Kurosawa was doing that years before Sergio Leone. Yeah. So, maybe that's where YK Kim's getting from directly. It's like, no, I'm referencing Asian cinema. I'm not referencing your bastardized American crap. Or Italian American crap.
I kind of hope he is, but knowing YK Kim, he probably is like, no, America, yeah. He's very pro, like, America.
Although in saying that, though, because you have next to Vader, a guy wearing a Mickey Mouse t-shirt.
Yeah. That's the second Mickey Mouse attire.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to get into the House of Mouse there. Like, oh, look, we're fans of. But also, we probably did point out the last time, but it feels like that would be a risky move to have an image of Mickey Mouse, an unsolicited Mickey Mouse picture, in your movie, because that's like Disney. There's a reason they stay on top, and it's because they freaking bat down everything that might even slightly impinge upon what they think they own. So.
They come around and trash all your stuff like Bill Gates does to Homer Simpson.
This could be as well. Like, that's why, like, people loved Miami Connection back in 1987, but Disney came in, ripped it out of the cinemas, and stuck it in that cardboard box back in the Alamo Draft House. No one heard of it for 35 years or whatever it was.
Let's start this rumor, please. It's Disney's fault.
Yeah. Well, people hate Disney now anyway, so you go on the internet, people are constantly moaning about Disney. A lot of the time for good reason, to be fair.
It's funny that now basically all sides don't like Disney.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Because there's films now that have been like tipped for success just because they're going up against Disney movies, and people are like, we just want that to beat Disney. Like, I don't need that to win. I just need Walt Disney to lose. You gotta notice in there too, the whole thing about all of Barbenheimer, no mention of Disney in that. That's just like, neither of them had anything to do with it. So it's like,
thank God.
It's finally getting. Although that Barbenheimer is so much more interesting in that regard, because it's like it kind of came about because of Chris Nolan falling out with Warner Brothers and stuff.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And them opening, Warner Brothers deliberately then opening Barbie against Universal's Oppenheimer just to spite him and stuff, not realizing that was actually probably giving him a massive boost.
Yeah. I mean, I saw both of those movies, loved them. They're two aspects of, my personality in a way. But I don't know, without all the hype and the memes and stuff, I don't know if I'd have gone to the cinema. I might have waited.
Oh, no, I'm absolutely certain. Like, because Oppenheimer's still doing big business. But, like, Barbie would have always been fine. But Oppenheimer strikes me as like, no, that is getting a major boost from. It would have done okay, but I don't think it would have been anywhere near as like, it's like it passed something there. It's like it's the highest grossing R-rated movie in America or something like ever or something. It's like a really insane record it broke the other day, where it's like I don't think it would have got there without all the meme hype. So definitely. But then again, who's lying in the dirt over there? It's like, oh, Disney coming out with like, we got a Little Mermaid remake that we just nobody wanted.
Is that even out as of recording?
Oh yeah, it's been and gone.
Oh, see, there you go. I didn't even know.
It came, it went. It's on digital now. You can just watch it on Disney Plus, as far as I'm aware. But but nobody, as I said at the time, out of principle, won't do it. Just like, no, you got to stop remaking things. Just so I will never watch that, even for free. So
I've seen all the other live action, if you can call them that, and they're okay. I mean, none of them have offended me. Because I'm not a big Disney person as it is, but I'm like, yeah, okay, they were fine, I guess. I mean, there's no point, but they're there.
I don't know. I think in principle, they offend me because they're only done as a lazy cash grab. So it's just like, it's no different than like the Lion Guard 2.5, the straight to video crap they're shoveling out in the early 2000s, where they're like, yeah, it's a movie, right? Yeah, go ahead. Somebody will buy that. And it's just, everything about it's just like, no, I refuse. I refuse to go into that.
At least Mulan was a little bit different. They changed that a bit.
No, it's still bore from the same teat. So,
but Mulan is a traditional tale anyway. So that one you can do different versions of. That kind of feels fine to me. But something like Lion King was weird because it was the same movie. They didn't change anything.
No, but they just made it worse. They made it way, way worse. That's what they did.
Bizarre. And again, I wasn't offended by it as such, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, they look kind of cool. They look like real cats. I love cats. But at the same time, it's like, well, I've got The Lion King. I can just watch that.
I was thinking too, because Vader's up on top of this big stack of crates, and he is whittling. We got a guy next to him there with like, it looks like a Mickey Mouse guy. It looks like it's just a pool cue he's got, which is like, this is all the weaponry we have, just like, pool cue, that'll do me.
It looks a bit thinner, right? But I was thinking maybe it's like a bow staff, like Donatello uses. Well, that's a weapon, it's a Japanese weapon.
It's a weapon. It's just more like, you're really giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. You think they actually made the effort to bring a bow staff?
That's all I could think. Or do you think, because this is going to tie into Vader, actually, do you think it's just a piece of wood he found?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is how the gang operates. It's like, we go down the railroad tracks, and then Vader whittles us all some weapons. And so he's over there, like, he's whittling some nunchucks for a guy.
Well, that's the thing with him. When I was first watching it, I was like, okay, well, he's either whittling or he's sharpening the knife. So then I was like, okay, well, is it a piece of metal then? Because to sharpen the knife, it'd have to be metal. But then it's like, well, it looks like wood. That's not really going to sharpen a knife. So do you think he's just bored as fuck and he's found a piece of wood and he's like, I'm just going to fucking hack at this for a while.
That's 100% what it is, yeah. It's probably just like them sitting around bored on set as well.
They didn't know they were being filmed.
Yeah. Although that's what they say, apparently, like the people who work in Hollywood, it's just like, one of the old sayings is that your first day on a film set is like the most exciting day of your life. Your second day is the most boring day of your life, because you just realize how much of it's just waiting around just for like little minor things to be done until you finally get going. I
suppose then by day 3, you're like, you've got the right equilibrium there. You're balanced. You're like, okay, this will be tolerable. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there's always little things like, I think I mentioned this during Batman at one point, because I remember bringing it up at some point down the line. But remember seeing Elliot Page, or back then when he was Ellen Page, amazing at juggling, and just like proper, like mesmerizingly good at juggling. And apparently it was just because spent a lot of time on film sets doing nothing. You just literally sit around on your ass all day, waiting for setups to happen and lighting to get in place and all that kind of stuff.
I imagine that's why like
Christian. Yeah, that's why Christian Bale like blew up at that guy in that Terminator set one time, because it's just like moving lights around in the middle of a take, and he's just like, I've been waiting all day for this. What are you doing? Like,
that's the thing. I've never been too critical of him for that, because we don't know the full story. Like, maybe that was the 800th fuck up.
Yeah.
And maybe that guy's been annoying him all day or something. Like, again, I'm not saying it was the right way to speak to him, but Yeah, no, we weren't there. We've all been in similar situations where you're just like, oh, God, fucking hell, stay still.
It did birth a great, an early meme remix song. That was like kind of a novel thing. It was like 2009. I want to say that
Must
happened.
be around then, yeah.
But just that, like, they had that remix song of, like, what don't you fucking know? I'm gonna kick your fucking head.
It's fucking distracting.
Yeah. Oh, good. So you go now, 14 years later, that song still stays with you. Because back then, people weren't doing things like that much. So it was a real novelty. They'd be like, someone took the vocals and turned it into a whole thing. Whereas now, it's just like, as soon as anything happens, like, the most minor thing in the world is like, that is going to be remixed within seconds after happening.
The thing is, I still miss out on it these days, though, because most of the time it's going to go to TikTok. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it.
Yeah. You might eventually see it in the comment section on Facebook.
Yeah.
some younger person will put it in there. But.
Look, I'm approaching 40, listeners. I get my TikToks the way God intended, by people sharing them as stories on Instagram. That's how I know it's a good one. If it's made its way there, then it must be acceptable.
This is one of those that this is Vader's. I don't know if he just gives presents to people out of this. I was like, yeah, I'm going to make Jeff a nice beard comb.
Oh,
and so he's just sitting up there. It's like, oh, maybe then he'll like me. But,
he wants to be his Bezzy, his best mate.
And then so yeah, we got a shot of dude up in. Then we cut to, of course. Because I'm just going through the minute here. It's like, what does happen next? We had a shot of the guy up on top of the tanker thing. Yeah, he's so nondescript. He doesn't even deserve a nickname. That guy.
No, he's got a nice jacket. What would Americans call it? A vest. We'd call it like a. I don't know what we'd call that actually. Like a sleeveless jacket.
Yeah. It's not quite a waistcoat because a waistcoat's more fancy than
it's
that.
More like denim or leather, isn't it?
Yeah. I was wondering because it's annoying. It's so sort of like you can't quite make out what the thing is.
I tried zooming in, still couldn't.
Yeah. Although I did see a great photo earlier today of young Mark Hamill wearing a Howard the Duck t-shirt.
Hey.
I don't know how soon it was in relation to George Lucas's ill-fated Howard the Duck movie.
Masterpiece, yes.
Unless that's maybe Mark Hamill got George Lucas into. That's why he didn't hire him for the prequels to do anything. He's like, you got me in that stupid duck comic, and then you nearly tanked the whole goddamn studio.
Aww.
People are still calling me. This is like the worst George Lucas impression ever, to have him ranting and raving like that.
Yeah, he kind of just talks like this.
I don't think that George Lucas has ever yelled in his life. He just seems like everything would be like, you nearly destroyed the studio, Mark, and we're really going to have words about this, and no, you can't be in mine.
Well, I'll still never to this day get over the extras on... It was Attack of the Clones or Sith. I think it was Revenge of the Sith. It was one of them. Where he's talking about his process, and it's like, well, yeah, the most obvious, basic way of shooting. He's like, well, over here we've got camera A, and then over there is camera B, and we cut between the two. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I just wonder what because him and Francis Ford Coppola were like so tight. I think they're still mates and stuff.
Yeah.
But what are they talking about? Because it's just George is so like straightforward and very dull, and Francis Ford Coppola is like, I'm gonna go out and shoot for 6 years in the jungle, and I'm gonna go crazy out there.
Which I think, if I remember rightly, wasn't he a little bit resentful towards Lucas for that for a while? Because it was meant to be him making it.
Yeah. So he's maybe that's why George is just like, so just keep things very simple. I've seen what happens when you get too ambitious with your projects, and then
he's right. If that's the case,
yeah. George Lucas has always been like, it's all profit. You never. I suppose maybe Howard the Duck actually probably made a loss, but he came back with those prequels that not everybody hated, but like people mocked them, but they made a ton of money. So you can't fault them there.
I now need to see how much money Howard the Duck made. The budget was $36 million.
Yeah.
All right, and let's see. It made worldwide. It made $38 million.
Whoa, worldwide.
Worldwide. So it made $2 million in total.
No, that's a flop. Even if because you're like, oh, budget, that's not taken into regard, like marketing and stuff like that as well. So they probably spent way more than that.
Well,
and then they had all that. It's like, yeah, you made a measly $2 million. Jesus Christ!
The domestic U.S. box office takings were $16.3 million.
Oh man, oh man.
I think I contributed about $1 million towards it because I watched it about 8,000 times.
I don't think I watched it a bunch, but I was just like, I just taped it off the TV. So that was back then. I was just like, well, but you got that. Yeah, I've seen Howard the Duck. I'd never paid a penny towards it because it was on BBC One late one night, and I taped it. And that was. I remember my brother selling it to me. He's like, "This is from the guy who made Star Wars."
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and been like, "This isn't like Star Wars at all."
Hey, you're not a true Howie head.
I've got the novelization right behind me here, Chad. You want How down? Let's How down.
Oh, I did used to have that. I remember buying that when I was, 6, 7, something like that. I got it very early on.
Yeah, I guess maybe I contributed some money towards buying the novelization, but then that was my brother who bought the novelization, and that was in 1986. I guess.
Okay. So he's responsible for it making those $2 million. Okay.
I thought it was novelization. That wouldn't go towards the gross of the movie.
I wouldn't think so.
I'm still always very curious though about like because you know how much money The Room is bound to have made, like tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for.
Yeah.
But he's still, because of everything about The Room so mysterious, it's like, I wonder if Tommy Wiseau's made his money back yet. So it turned out that he's still spent more than that on the film. You know?
I think he probably did. Because I mean, the amount of money he spent on those new cameras and stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff you're supposed to lease, but he went out and just bought them. He probably announced one like, "Oh, everyone, I just broke even on The Room." It's like, it's been 23 years, man. What the hell you been doing?
Hey, you know what? Who cares? Sometimes you got to spend to up your profile, and that's what's happened.
But then, look, speaking of just pissing money away, we then cut back to our old friends Dexy's Midnight Runners there, sitting in a just a baffling bit of a back and forth. Of just like everything about this dialogue to me is just so strange because it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's improv because it feels like they are saying a thing they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would someone write this down as dialogue? And then be like, yep, that's great. Just go ahead. And everyone on set's just like, that sounds fantastic. That's the way people normally talk. Yeah, this is how the conversation would go.
Well, especially baffling that it's all ADR, so they had a chance to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
The ADR's the worst here.
Oh, I loved the sound of Dexy's voice in this thing. They're dead meat.
Yeah, that's not him, is it?
I don't think so. No.
That's
it's
just
as if they got us to go back and it sounds like more of our impressions of Dexy's than Dexy's himself.
Yeah. They're dead meat. It's like, what? That's not your voice, man.
Go back, you son of a bitch. I know, actually, I sneaked ahead in the minutes. There's a good old fashioned, you son of a bitch, that's coming from Dexy down the line. I was ecstatic when I saw it.
Hell yes, we need it. We need one every week on this show. Come on.
But no, so this little interaction though, it's just like, what time you got? He shows him his watch. And he's like, oh, they should have been here a long time ago. I haven't forgotten what those guys have done, you know? This is really out of nowhere. Like, they've not been talking the entire night, and now they're just oh, you realize why we're here, by the way. I still remember that guy beat me up that time. And also, yeah, we're going to go get them. Now, this is why we're here. Everyone's clear why we're here. It's for revenge against Dragon's Island. So.
Captain Exposition. Now, also, first off, hang on. All three of them are topless. Take 3 drinks or 1 giant swig. Right. Also, speaking of attire, he has not changed the bandage on his head. It is still covered in the same bloodstain. Change your dressings, man. Hygiene.
That's what I had down as a note was... is it that he's not changed the dressing or he's a hemophiliac? And it's just like, this is like, oh, Dragon's Sound have killed him. Like
he's slowly dying throughout the film.
He's just gonna eventually bleed to death because he's too proud to admit that he's a hemophiliac. But
that'd be a really good story for a hero, I think, in like an old martial arts tale. They're dying from the opening scene, but they need to complete their mission no matter what. before they kick the bucket, you know?
Yeah. But you said that, though, because how many days has it been since we would have seen these guys? It's got to be a couple, because...
It has to be. At least 24 hours. I would say 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. And that bloodstain hasn't gotten any darker.
Nope.
It's still the bright red. I feel like I would give them more respect if it was the same bandage, but it was like all manky or something.
Oh, when it
like
goes
really
kind of like brown.
Yeah. I actually have a thing there. Eventually I just took the plaster off, but just last Thursday, I nearly sliced the tip of my finger off.
Oh.
Cutting open an orange. And it was one of those things that, like, at the time, where, because, sometimes you just nick yourself with knives all the time by mistake, and you're like, I'll be fine. And it was only after like an hour of it still bleeding, been like, oh Christ, I better take care of this. And then actually looking, I was like, oh no, the tip is like properly coming off. Like,
oh, I've done that before. It's horrible.
Yeah, but then went and just a couple of plasters, and then eventually within the day, the plaster was just horrible looking. And you're like, all right, I better replace that. Now I'm still sitting looking at this, big horrible brown thing at the end of my finger. It's like, eventually it'll get back to normal, I guess. But,
it will. You'll be fine. But I mean, Dexy apparently won't.
Yeah, unless that thing around his neck, that's a previous bandage that's soaked through with blood.
Oh.
And he's just pulled it down, and he's ripped out another one quickly around his head there as well.
He's going to collect them around his neck like trophies.
Trophies of his own blood.
Yeah, that's how hard he is.
This is like, the other people are like, it's a necklace made of the teeth of all the guys I've beat the crap out of. And he's like, this is a bandana of my own blood from all the times I got the crap kicked out of me by dragons.
Well, he has no problems telling people how he got the crap kicked out of him.
That's the thing. It's like, why bring Dexy? Like, these two assholes, what are they doing there? Like, they're two-time losers. They were told their audition tape was just like... Oh, we got fired. Then the club owner beat us up. Yeah. Single-handedly, mind you.
That's a good point. They was completely outnumbered and he kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah. And then we went out, we tried to get revenge on Dragon Sound for whatever reason. And then they destroyed us. So like, oh, you guys better come down. We're going to need... Unless Jeff's just like, I just need numbers. These are just like the proper... these are the cannon fodder, these guys. Like, just fling them. Literally pick them up and throw them at Dragon Sound to distract them while I come in for like a quick, judo chop in the background or something there. But
I could see that being the case. Like, but Dexy will think he's actually in there because look at the way he's sitting. He's sitting very proud, isn't he, with his dad bod? He's like, yeah. Whereas the other two just look like fucking nerds.
Is it me? Is it just the curve of his stomach or something? It actually looks weird to me, though. If you look at his waist.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a line.
Yeah.
It looks as if he's got like a pair of like nylon tights underneath his jeans that he's pulled up way up to like halfway over his torso, and that's binding in.
Yeah.
And then he's got his jeans on underneath. It doesn't look like it's the curve of his stomach, because I think in the back.
You can see it in the back, yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird whatever's going on there.
I was going to say, no, it's just his body until you were talking about it, and I saw it on his back. Now I'm intrigued. Could it just be that he had his pants really high up and they were digging in?
It could be, yeah. He's just been left with a track.
Yeah. I know that's the lamest answer, but, he's a lame guy.
I've noticed sometimes, too, in my thigh, I always end up with some sort of weird indentation of a circle.
Oh.
It's just there some days. I'm just like, what is this? Like, it's not from anything in my pocket. It's the same size and shape. It's like,
I think you're dying.
It's been happening since I was a kid. I've always been like, what is this thing that disappears? It just looks as if like, if you have your belt on too tight, you have little tracks on your skin or whatever. But this is just like, just randomly on the side of my thigh. This is like, this looks like a little circle. That's just there. Where'd that come from?
I think that's the alien implant sort of being activated from when you were abducted as a child.
Well, maybe. Hope so. At least now that we know that they're real, according to the U.S. government, I can finally get some answers for this. But.
Yeah, it's about time.
I was like, yes, aliens are here. One of them made a movie in 2003 called The Room. Everyone's like, I knew it, God damn it.
If I found out Tommy Wiseau was an alien, I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's like that guy on there in the U.S. Senate just talking about like, he had a very specific term for what he called them. It was like biological.
Oh yeah,
something or others or something like he didn't flat out say alien bodies, but that seemed to be what he was, he
I'm
was
trying to remember
inferring
the
that he was
word.
talking about, like, we found there was a crash, and then there was stuff, and then I said, was there any, like, biological stuff? There was biological, components to so it's like, yeah, there was bodies and stuff. It turns out, like, yeah, one of them looked like that guy from The Room. I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense.
It would make perfect sense. Perfect sense.
At the time I was like, oh, I'm rumbled. Just like floats off into the sky.
He hopefully didn't die on the way back to his home planet. Here you go. It says here they call them biologics.
Biologics,
non-human biologics. That sounds like a made-up Americanism. Biologic.
I think I felt as if the guy was saying he had made it up on the spot because he didn't want to just say alien bodies. But I think because everybody watched that testimony, he's very like, he's coming out with everything, but he's also very like, I don't want to completely put my foot in it, so I'm just saying what I feel like and get away with saying. So
It was interesting, but nothing seems to have come of it.
Do you think maybe that because I know the other guy here who's got the nose damage and thing around his, but still he's got bandages around there too. You think maybe that's what Jeff was doing earlier? That's why he's got the thing around his wrist. It's like, Jeff's been playing nurse to all these guys. He changed the dressing. He's done up that guy's wrists, and he's just like wears around his own wrists for handiness now. He's like, yeah, I'm just there waiting. I'll roll when I need to roll.
Leave it to nurse Jeff.
Yeah.
Maybe he dresses in the nurse outfit. I need to see that. But he keeps the beard and everything.
That's where the party went last night. We go down the real. It sounded like, the Dragon Sound went down way too early, and Jeff was in full on party swing. And everyone's just there having a full on rager. And like, we'll come back in the morning, guys. Like, again, because there's no proper set time. You would be a bit more like, oh man, like I got class at 10. And the other guys like, well, I gotta open the store and stuff. Like I got time to come down and rumble. Like, and everyone is just like, no, we're all agreed. The rumble is happening at 6 a.m. this Thursday morning.
And it's non-negotiable.
If you can't make it, then you're out of the gang.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be out of the gang, Jeff. Oh, you gotta be out of the gang, damn it. And that's the thing though, because these guys, they're sitting there shirtless too, but like, part of me wants to think that Jeff literally took the shirt off their backs.
Oh.
Remember,
it's like an initiation thing almost. Like, right, you're in the gang, but you've got to start at the bottom.
Oh, my thing was more because remember their vow to him was to like, if you get us our jobs back, you can have whatever money we earn.
Oh, and he literally is like, well, I want the shirt off your back.
Yeah, he's just proper, just like, all right, I'm taking that then. It's like, I'll consider this collateral until you get your jobs back. I'm literally taking the shirt off your back.
I wonder if that shirt he's wearing is one that one of these guys had on earlier.
It could be, yeah. No, that would make a lot of sense.
And that's why the sleeves have come off. He's like, he just didn't fit into it. He's too muscular. He's too buff.
Yeah. Or he's just doing it to taunt them. And he's just like, oh, your favorite shirt, huh? Oops. Oh, it looks way cooler now without the sleeves, huh? Like, you son of a bitch.
Although you're speaking about all these gang members, right? I know Dragon Sound is a pretty big band. There's a lot of people. But this seems like unfair numbers, doesn't it? I know they're not honourable. They're bad guys. It doesn't seem like it would do your reputation any favours, though, to be like, 50 of us beat the living shit out of this one band. It's like, okay, anyone could do that.
Remember how many people fought them in the street that time?
True.
When Dexy's came, he had like 50 guys, and they all got the crap kicked out of them. So I think, Jeff probably hasn't got enough people with him, quite frankly.
That's true. I suppose if you think of it in that way.
Yeah.
To normal mortals, this would be unfair. But in the world of Miami Connection, this is unfair to Jeff and Dexy.
Yeah. I guess Jeff still hasn't... maybe he's evened it out in his own mind, because he's like, well, I beat up that John guy by myself that one time. And all I've got to go on is you telling me that these guys beat up all these other dudes. But from what I've gathered from Dexy... And is Dexy and the dweeb here? You guys suck. So it's like, they beat you up. Yeah, of course they did, because you're friggin' useless. So maybe he's like, I'll bring like about half my usual crew, because you never know, they might turn out to be something. But I don't really believe these jackasses, because the idiot came in to offer me, if I got him his job back, he'd give me all his pay. Like, what the hell is that?
I still cannot wrap my head around that.
He's just like, this is a life debt to you, Jeff.
Basically, it's a life debt. It's Chewbacca.
Yeah. I mean, he is halfway there. Dex, he's kind of like, you grow out that body hair a little bit. He's got a kind of a Chewie vibe about him, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You go up and stand next to the Han there on the tanker. Near Vader. Oh no, it's all coming together.
I do think as well with his general vibe and demeanor and the outfit, Dexy, I get the impression he's trying to be the new Jeff. He's like, I want to be cool like Jeff. Maybe if I dress like him, he'll notice me.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, I think because all the guys were wearing. Remember in Jeff's gym, they all were in jeans with their shirts off, and he came in his lounge suit. So he might be just like, oh, Christ, I got to fit in. Yep. All right, tomorrow we're going down. We got the jeans. We got the no shirts. We're set.
This is
I guess they're all wearing different outfits. Like, oh, God damn it. Now we look like idiots.
Oh, he was trying his best to get in with them. Oh.
And he shows up next time with like a Bugs Bunny t-shirt, and Jeff's is like, we're Disney fans, damn it. Get out of here with that Warner Brothers crap.
Get it right. Maybe it's like there's a rival gang who are into Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah. They did, like they call themselves like the Looney Tunes or the. I don't know if you have a more sinister name than that. Like,
could just be the Loonies.
Yeah, the Loonies. The Loonies will do. Yeah.
That's a bit Warriors, isn't it?
What's the thing we were watching? There's another night where I went to our friend Jimmy's. Me, him, and Ash ended up playing a game of Risk.
You mean the game Risk, not like we played a game of Risk.
No, we're sitting down there. We got put our palms flat down the table and got out like a hunting knife and then tried to do that thing from. No, we played the board game Risk, yeah. And afterwards, we put on, what was the name of the movie? It was something Ash recommended, and it was.
Well, that could be anything that's ever fucking. He picks the most bizarre, unknown films you've ever heard of.
It was a thing that was. I think it was like. Oh no, because we looked it up at the time. It came out the same year as The Warriors, but it was. It was like it was a kind of deep impact Armageddon situation where you're like, oh, who came up with this first? Like, what did they call it? Because I remember then it was these guys going throughout, the city, and there was a gang war going on. But one of the at one point, the Wanderers. That's what you called it.
The Wanderer. That's too similar. Come on.
Yeah, it was one of those things though, where it's just like it's out in '79. Warriors is out in '79, and it was made by somebody quite. It's made from the guy who made like the Donald Sutherland Invasion of the Body Snatchers and stuff.
Oh, okay, that is good.
But there was one of those things of like, it's very very dated in that like the main guys are kind of like they're essentially greasers, even though it's in the '70s, and then the rival gangs are all just like they're skinheads, but not in like the way, we know skinheads over here and the kind of like the neo-Nazi, or not even, before all that, you had like in This Is England, the kind of the nice skinheads and stuff.
Yeah.
But these guys just look like American, like former greasers who have now just shaved their head. Just because we need to have a thing. So this is our thing now. We're all way too young to be this bald, but we are now this bald.
So they're not members of the bald community?
They are not members of the bald community at all. But at one point, they kept talking about this like really infamous gang called the Ducky Boys.
Oh, the Ducky Boys, eh?
And there's the thing, I kept calling them like, the Ducky Boys. And then at one point, one of the main characters is like, he wanders into the wrong area. He goes into like a church quite late at night, and he realizes that all the people in the congregation, it's the Ducky Boys.
Oh no!
And it's actually like, it turns into a horror movie for like, it's all just like a random gang drama thing for like most of it. And then it's him like booting away from the Ducky Boys. It's like out in the late night streets in New York, and there's just like this mist everywhere.
Ooh. And
like you keep seeing it's like the fog. It's like you're just seeing in the distance like these shadowy figures, the Ducky Boys coming for them. And
this
you're like,
sounds great.
It was all pretty good, but then he was like, why are they called the Ducky Boys? It's just the most least intimidating name in the universe.
Especially because I don't know if this is just in England. A Ducky Boy, that's slang for a gay man.
Yeah.
Ooh, they're Ducky Boys, are they?
The thing is, you could read then there being a homophobic reading of it by being like they're that threatening because the director is like, yes, the Ducky Boys are after him.
It's like, you better watch out, or those Ducky Boys are gonna get him.
Exactly, yeah. And then you go into like, they're hiding in the church, and even though that's the last place to expect to find the Ducky Boys. But but it was I would love, so, like, they really should have more of this in Miami Connection. I think we've kind of speculated on ideas for it. Just have more and more gangs show up. So you should have the Ducky Boys Florida chapter. You just see in the distance the mist coming in, or whatever. It's like, it's the Ducky Boys.
Right, so
they're flying south for winter. Oh no!
Our fans are now going to be the Ducky Boys. Our listeners, that's what you're called collectively. So we're giving this one. We're shouting out all our Ducky Boys out there.
Yeah. I really that has to be another one of our unsolicited Miami Connection sequels. Is the Ducky Boys flying south for winter, coming down to Florida, and then they start encroaching on whoever takes over Yoshito's territory, I guess, because obviously Yoshito doesn't survive the events of the movie.
I like to think Jane takes over.
Jane, or there'll be like Yasuno or something, which is Yoshito's son or something.
No, I in my mind, it's like Jane because it's like the end of Solo, where what's her name takes over from
Kira.
Yeah, she just she's turned, she's taken over the gang.
Poor Emilia Clarke, because she's such a charming presence on screen. Normally, like you ever see her interviewed, she's like the most delightful interview guest ever. She's so happy all the time.
Yeah, and she actually seems delighted to be in the things she's in, doesn't she?
Yeah, but everything she's in now, she's always in the really mediocre version of it. Like, she was Sarah Connor in a Terminator movie. Yeah, nobody really liked it.
She was fine in it. It was just a bad movie.
Yeah, she didn't suit Sarah Connor, though. She just looked like, I know what Sarah Connor looks like, and that's not what Sarah Connor looks like. And then when they made that, it was just, I think both of us defend Solo quite a bit, but it's just got this thing now of like the mark against is like, Emilia Clarke showed up for Star Wars, it didn't do that great, and then now she's in Secret Invasion. It's like Secret Invasion's the worst thing that Marvel's ever done.
Yeah, like nobody I know has any time for it. No,
I think I know people who have finished it, and they were like, "Why did I finish it?" I thought I watched like 3 episodes. I was there for Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn's great in it. And then, spoilers, he's not in. There's a certain point where Ben Mendelsohn's not going to be in it no more. And then afterwards, I was like, the next week, I was kind of sitting going like, there's nothing left in the show for me. And the whole thing, too, is because it's like, well, it's TV, because it's a TV show. The concept of like, the Skrulls have infested the higher-ups, but you're like, they keep going out of their way to go like, oh, the Avengers are getting involved in this. So you're like, well, it's not really that big a threat then, is it?
Yeah, because the Avengers would get involved.
Yeah. If it was a whole big thing where like, we're getting in all the big actors and who knows, friggin', Spider-Man could be a Skrull or friggin' Captain Marvel could be a Skrull or something like that. You'd be like, oh, now there's something exciting. But the whole show is like, is it this random guy in a suit, the Skrull? Like, I don't care. And I know it's not going to matter anyway, so get on with it.
Yeah.
So, I know the next project's lined up. The Marvels is coming. It's set after Secret Invasion. I saw the trailer. They're all fine. So get on with it. God damn it.
This is why I've checked out of most of it. I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever. Just do what you want to do. I'm not going to watch it.
It's so frustrating though too, because like the best film of this year so far to me is Across the Spider-Verse, and when you say it to people, you have to now have the caveat of like, don't say, oh, you're tired of Marvel stuff. This isn't a Marvel thing. It's not an MCU thing. You're thinking of all other stuff. I'm telling you, this is the real deal.
It's
kind of
different.
Thing.
It's separate.
As I understand, I was underwhelmed by Quantum Mania and whatever else came out this year too.
Well, that says it all. You don't even remember.
Yeah.
You just
I actually saw just earlier today, because this is going way too much of a tangent, but I went to see the new Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah,
genuinely brilliant. Like it's
it's good. Yeah.
It's really really good. But Vanessa Kirby's in it, and she's actually really good in it for a bit. You remember Vanessa Kirby from Hobbs and Shaw?
Yes.
And stuff. And she's apparently, they've not officially announced it yet, but it's sort of like everybody knows she's been cast as Sue Storm for the Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
Just everyone else is still to be decided, but she's the one that's locked basically, and everyone, all the scoopers and all the people behind the scenes are going like, yeah, that's who it is. We just haven't announced it officially yet. But it was just weird watching her going, oh, that's going to be your new Sue Storm. But there's no excitement because it's like, it's just going to be another Marvel thing.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be bland.
And remember thinking to myself, like, because the Fantastic Four were Marvel's like first family. It was one of their first big things. I was like, wouldn't it be great if they had like stopped at Endgame and took a break for like 5 years, and then came back with the Fantastic Four, and kind of like we're restarting again with the characters that started the whole thing.
Well, that'd be good, and that would make sense, and that's why they won't do it.
And that's where you'll be sitting there anticipating, going like, oh, they're going to start making them again. It's been a while, but they're going to crank into a new stage. And it's like, oh, here we go. And then, but now it's been like, they're at this point of like, man, you guys really should have stopped there a while back, because I think you're losing everybody. So
yeah, they are.
But anywho, that's neither here nor there. One thing we forgot to mention there is when you did get Bland Han on top of the there was a random sound effect of like a hawk.
Yes.
At one point. I was like, do you get hawks down in Florida? Is that a thing that happens? Or for a while I thought it was a buzzard or like a vulture or something was hovering around. So like you wouldn't get them down. The vultures are a thing out. Well, there's some vultures out in the desert, right? So maybe you would get them in Florida because it's so hot. But
yeah,
I don't think I've. It struck me as very, very strange that he was just standing around and like. I felt as if I was watching Cobra Kai when Hawk does anything, and
it goes,
they throw in the little Hawk sound effect every time.
I mean, maybe they do have them. I've looked up there the state bird. The state bird is the northern mockingbird. So that's definitely not one of them. But apparently they are changing the bird. Let me just see. For 95 years, the northern mockingbird has been Florida's state bird. Oh, let's keep it that way. I think there's an argument to change it. Attempts to change the state bird to the scrub jay. There you go. And I don't know a lot about scrub jays, but I don't think this sound is one of them either.
I mean, I think we need to go between minutes, John. Go and do our research, and then come back next minute with an argument for and against the scrub jay as the new state bird of Florida.
Well, you know what? On air, I'm going to listen right now to one. Oh no, it's, yeah, okay. Okay, because this article said, scrub jays can't even sing. They only have an irritating squawk. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this noise is that. No, it's annoying.
Scrub jays, they are the Dexies of birds, I think.
Yeah.
Replaced by the magnificent dragon sound of the mockingjay.
It describes it here as a mechanical hiccup sound. So.
I know, actually, I'm getting really. It just sounds like the Millennium Falcon when it's faltering.
It's basically. I've got a cold, so this is gonna be hard. But it sounds like.
Do it again.
Oh, I can't. My throat.
No, I was just messing with you.
I'm gonna die.
How many times can I get John to do this?
Help me, listeners, help me. He's
well,
torturing
me. Mockingjay is the same as a mockingbird, so they copy the sound of other birds, right?
I mean, the name would imply that, but I don't know a lot about birds, so don't ask me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's part of the Mockingjay's whole thing. So maybe it flew somewhere, heard a hawk, and now it came back.
And it thinks it's tough shit.
Well, the suit hanging out with Jeff's gang. Yeah. Maybe it's their bird. That's their pet Mockingjay.
It's their war bird.
Yeah. You just see at one point, like, Mark's in the middle of a fight, and all of a sudden the bird just comes down and starts attacking his face or something.
And it's like Birdemic.
Yeah. Somehow the effects are still better than Birdemic, even in 1987.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like Birdemic except good, but that's being a bit harsh. I
think everyone it would lose everybody though. Mark turned around and just like kicked the bird out of the air and killed it or something. Because I'm like, no, that's a bird.
Well, you say that, but he kills a bird in the lighthouse, and that's fine.
That's true. Yeah.
Somehow it's funny.
To be fair, the characters of the lighthouse, there's no real like, oh, you like these guys. You're just more like, well, I'm just watching these two men just go completely insane.
Yeah,
I don't really care about what their personalities are in terms of likability. I'm just more here to find out whether one likes the other's lobster. That's my main priority.
He was fond of his lobster.
No, well, he would never admit to it, but.
He clearly was, though. He doesn't want to admit. See, it's a metaphor for coming out again. He's like, he doesn't want to admit that he likes his lobster.
I think that was the whole. That's why it caught on with people so much, just for saying you're fond of me lobster. It's just like, well, I mean, it really sounds like you're saying something else.
And it's the look on his face when he's desperate to hear a yes. So he's like, you're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
Say it. That was a great movie. I haven't watched The Lighthouse since it first came out. I must go back to it sometime.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. That's one of my main beefs with the Northman. It was just like, there's not enough meme potential in this, quite frankly.
There's not enough farting.
Yeah. Oh no, there's farting.
Oh, is there? I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah. Friggin' Willem Dafoe as well. It's just what he does. He shows up on set and farts.
Turns out that's not in the script. He just farts, and they're like, "Well, we need to work this in somehow. It's all over the audio."
It could be. They're just like, Willem's just like, I've got a medical condition. I can't hold it in. It's better out than in, so sorry, everybody. And then the sound editors are just like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm just leaving them in this time. So.
It's like me editing this podcast, listeners. Niall's farting away. I have to edit it out. I'm going to leave it in next time.
So where are we?
We're near the end, to be honest.
We have the whole thing, Nosy and Jim over here. He starts just explaining to Dexys what he already knows. Of just like, so I'm going to kick the crap out. Oh, then we of course have Dexy's famous, they're dead meat.
Yeah.
From the Eckhart and Batman 89 School of ADR, where you're just like, what?
And recorded by a completely different man with a different voice, a different accent, a different build, it sounds like.
That'd be amazing if it was YK Kim did it himself. It's like he can actually drop into a Dexy's voice when he wants. But he's choosing to remain like, no, why would I defy my own voice? There's nothing wrong with it. But then when he wants to, he can just be like, that's right, those sons of bitches, I'm gonna kick their ass.
It's acting, darling.
Frustratingly, just to finish the thought, Nosy and Jim, he's just then going on about like, remember when he broke my nose and he messed up my head? And it gave you brain damage too, because freaking Dexy's just like, I know all this, man. What are you talking about? Like, I was there.
It's just in case you've forgotten. It's like it's a TV show and he's reminding you 3 weeks later.
It could be because it was sat out there for hours. He just keeps saying this over and over. And that's why the music comes in so horrifically abruptly. Because the music pours in and it's way too soon for the transition and it's way too loud because he's talking and it starts drowning out what he's saying. So my headcanon is Jeff's just like, he's heard this like 15 times already. So he just cranks up the radio. He's like, God damn it. From that, the freaking stupid Mockingjay bird doing an impression of a hawk flying around. I'm dying on it. I'm trying to be hungover. Everyone just shut up. Maybe that's why they're not listening to music at all. I thought that was quite weird that they're, it's cool and it's very Sergio Leone, like, where they're all sitting down just waiting in silence and stuff.
Well, it's that serious to them,
But it could be cool if it's like Jeff's just like, I am done. It's like, can we put on some talking? Jeff, no one touched the radio. I'm hungover. He's just lying there. He's just got like a little, the wet the wet towel over his forehead. Just like,
that's what this is on Dexy as well. It's not a bandage. It's a wet towel.
But yeah. So then we do cut to the Jeff cranks the volume to drown these guys out, and presumably either Dragon Sound are listening to the same station on the radio, or it's so loud that they can hear it from their own car.
I reckon it's that because that seems like a jerk move for them to do.
Oh, it'll be like a honing signal to them as well. So it's like, follow the abrupt, very loud, glaring, jarring 80s synth that's pouring out of the railroad track.
Maybe that is what it is genuinely. Like, one of the guys watching is like, oh, here they come. Put the noise on so they know where to sort of park up.
Yeah, could be.
I do love seeing them arrive, though, because we see John driving that car, and he means business because he's got his business gloves on. Them's for fighting.
But that's why he bought them off QVC. It's like they double as both fighting and driving gloves.
Yeah, I mean, that covers all bases, right? That's the two activities men get into.
Or maybe he just wanted to impress Jeff, because he's just like, well, he had them on the last time. I want to show I'm tough too. So, although we don't see that he has both, because Mark also has a glove on. So maybe they had to split between the two of them.
Oh my God, it is alternate hands as well. John's got it on the left, and Mark's got it on the right.
As Mark was just like, you don't look cool enough, John. We've got to take one of my gloves, or at least do that. And I guess maybe at this point in the 80s, like Michael Jackson was still a big thing. So it's like, oh, one glove is cool. People like one glove. Just keep to it,
Yeah, I mean, and they're cool gloves. I used to wear gloves like this all the time back in the day. I don't
Back
know
with your
why.
Avril Lavigne wristbands over there.
Yeah. And I would stud them. You know, they'd have little spiky studs on. So I look a bit Judas Priest.
Ah. Were you also breaking the law?
I mean, I'm regularly breaking the law. But, you know, you got to keep that on the down low. The feds are after me.
I wonder if that's because let's choose the headcanon that it is Jeff's car radio that's making all this noise that they're following now. So it's also weird. I guess maybe if you're going to a rumble, like you're too tense to put on music, you might be just like, I don't know, I'm not really in sunshine lollipops kind of sing along mood. So
I guess you might want to get centered and a bit zen and like prepared mentally, right?
I guess, or maybe they're both. No, this is the Fight Psych Up channel that they tune into. There's so many ninjas around Orlando. It's like, now we just give them a station now. Just like this one get you. And then when they're about to go out and do some evil ninja stuff, they put on Breaking the Law by Judas Priest.
You're listening to Miami's #1 ninja station. Are you ready to break the law?
It's like, what, is it hosted by ninjas as well?
Of course.
Because would they be like that, or would they be like, you just hear a couple moments of silence, and then the next song starts?
The only station for ninjas, by ninjas.
Not against ninjas.
No.
That's played on your main FM station.
They're the anti-ninja
The station is called
networks.
Dragon Sound as well.
I always want the listeners to know right now, this podcast, we are anti-ninja. We're against the ninja.
Well, maybe not all ninjas. You know, we don't have to be. We don't come across like we're being prejudiced, John.
No, all ninjas, whether they be human or turtle.
That's why you refuse to go see the new Turtles movie.
Absolutely refuse.
We'll not give them a dime.
I was invited to the premiere and I said no.
Yeah, went
I'm
down
against
through
the
green
ninja.
through green paint all over Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Which was pretty impressive, quite frankly.
Those protesters throwing stuff, paint on artworks, and they stole my idea.
I think they stole from the Joker in '89.
He stole it from me. I've been doing it for years. It's my anti-ninja action.
Ah, that'd be like a part of your action figure is just like a little paint can, and like press a button on your back, like John now has anti-ninja action.
Hell yeah! You know what? We can genuinely. I looked this up. You can genuinely get custom-made like action figures or plushies of anything you want, and I think you just have to sell a certain amount of them. Dare we make a John and Niall action figure?
Well, just for hosting Miami Minutes in particular.
It could cover all things. It can come with accessories, so they can host whatever your favorite podcast is.
All two of them, I guess.
Technically 3.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you put in Gotham Beat there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why not? What else could we sucker people into between seasons?
And we could have toe action where we can grab the other figure with our toes.
I definitely have to have that'd definitely be part of your. Okay, there's so many merchandisable things to Miami Connection that they just did not capitalize on.
I am actually surprised that in this day and age, with people liking so-called bad movies and with the collectible scene the way it is, I am surprised one of these companies hasn't approached YKK and said, "Let's make something."
Yeah,
who's that company who make all those figures they've got in the comic book shop here? They make like Friday the 13th ones and
yeah.
And
they're probably like old school like toys you would have got in the 80s.
Yeah. And there's like Freddy Krueger, but it'll be like really specific. It's like, oh, this is Freddy from this one scene in the 4th movie, and you're like, oh, okay.
That's a bit you even get like. It seems now like the Room is so popular. They should have like Funko Pops and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever seen. Because maybe they would be a bit baffled. It's like, what do you do with a Tommy Wiseau Funko Pop? Do you like try to add Crags to the face? If he's not got Crags to the face, how do you know it's even Tommy Wiseau?
Hey, it didn't stop them with a lot of those figures, which is why they're losing so much money at the moment. Oh,
That's true. Yeah.
As much as I love them, they made so many random fucking ones that nobody was going to buy.
Yeah, they really overshot in terms of like what they were. Although I did get one just the other day. of Devo. Well, not of the whole band of Devo, but just a member of Devo.
I mean, that's brilliant right there. I think Devo still appeals to enough weirdos that it would work.
Well, the reason I bought it is because I went in, and they had the whole big wall of them in Forbidden Planet, and they're all like 10, 12, 15 quid. And then there was one of, it was just generic Devo from, the Whip It video specifically. But I'm looking at it right now. He's got the energy dome.
Yeah.
He's got a whip. He's got that weird thing where they had the sleeveless black turtleneck that came up and like up to just under the nose. All that business.
Yeah.
I got that. That was £5.
Whoa, bargain, bargain.
So it's like £5. Of course I'm going to buy it. She's going to be crazy not to buy it. So.
Crack that whip, licorice whip.
But yeah, so I suppose like that kind of thing for the random weird stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Devo one, something like that. Yeah, I do have a Howard the Duck one.
But
I
they
think you
make
gave
some
it Howard
that were
the
just
Duck
like a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
And you're like they did one for Kingpin from Daredevil. And even with him, I was like, yeah, I guess. Like, it's a bald guy in a suit.
I think they went into other things and it's like Boulder's Gate.
Yeah.
Just whatever, some random guy you saw for 2 seconds. Like, I really don't think people care that much, man. Like, did you...
And it didn't help that every figure they decided, we need 900 different color variants.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think you do.
It just was just people going mad with power. It was a real just like, we're never going to fail. There's no downside to this until they're like, oh Christ, what are we done?
We're going to keep on rocking.
Forever.
Unlike Dragon Sound, who are rocking forever and ever. They never stopped.
Just imagine Disney was there standing as Abe Simpson to Funko going like, I used to be it, and now they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it. It'll happen to you. No way, Disney. We're going to keep rocking forever.
Well, that was Beanie Babies talking to Funkos.
I'm sure there'll be a resurgence in the Funkos way down the line.
Oh, yeah.
But well, I did find out I got one years ago. It was one of those rando things of like... just, at one point I was like, oh, I was really into Gravity Falls. Still am. And I was like, I don't like ones of things from cartoons, like the Simpsons ones.
Oh, do you think it changes the art style too much?
Yeah, it's just like, it's fair enough if it's a real person.
Yeah.
But like, but to take something that's like, well, I know I could just buy a normal Simpsons figure that would just look like the character and that'd be way better. Why would I want a thing with black eyes? It's weird. But the one of Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls, because he's got glasses, it actually just looks like a figure of him. So I was like, oh, I'll go for that. And then I got it, completely forgot about it. It's been years. And I randomly mentioned it to someone, I believe our friend Allison Grimm on Facebook. And then someone commented underneath going like, isn't he worth like $1 million now or something?
Whoa, what?
And I was like, what? No, it's not that much. But he is worth like 60 quid on eBay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 60 grand.
No. It's not like, man, I wish. But like, there still is now the thing. It's one that's just like, oh, it's just there somewhere. But there's like, I do like it, but it's also like, I mean, it's 60 quid. I might as well just get rid of the thing.
I don't know. I think it's worth holding on to in case it goes up.
It could go up. You never know. In my 10 years' time, it could be worth the 60 grand. So we'll see what happens.
But back in the minute.
Yes, of course.
Kim,
what little left there is of the minutes. But.
Well, Kim/Mark here, similarly clad, as you say, with the glove. But what I like, right, he looks serious as fuck. He's ready to throw down. At the same time, though, right, he's not nervous or anything. He's still kind of relaxing a little bit. He has his foot up. So he's very serious and he knows he's going to kick ass, but he doesn't have to prove anything almost. It's like, yeah, I know I'm going to beat your ass.
Notice, too, that he's sitting in the same seat as Jeff, and Jeff also had his foot up.
It's like they're mirrors of each other, man.
Yeah, we are not so different, you and I.
There are heroes on both sides.
Well, the thing is, when Jeff had his foot up in the car, I was like, yeah, tractor had one asshole. But Mark having his foot up on the dash, he's like, dude, what are you doing? It's your friend's car.
But it shows how chill he is. He's like, he knows he's got it in the back. He knows they're going to be fine. Like,
He needs to keep that leg limber too. But he's just like, well, I gotta go in from a Taekwondo move. Like at some point, he's gonna flip the shoe off, and then he's just gonna. That's why he has the shoe on currently, is for the element of surprise.
I want to see him do a move where he flicks his foot up and the shoe flies off, and then he goes into a spin kick and lands the foot on the nose. One motion.
He really should finish. Well, we'll get there in many, many weeks' time. I was going to say he should finish Yoshito, but as the final guy he fights for them, it's weird because we know who plays Yoshito in that scene,
yes,
which is a really baffling thing. But that really should have been. But maybe that's why that particular Yoshito in that particular scene puts on the ninja mask. He's like, you can't penetrate the ninja mask with your toe, Taekwondo fiend.
Taekwondo.
Yeah.
We do catch one brief glimpse of the person I assumed invented parkour at the end there, as the minute ends. It's interesting actually, because I mean, I could be wrong. I can't think of a lot of movies before this that had people doing action like that. Like, that's proper parkour. That's not just someone jumping from one thing to another.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe in The Wanderers, you might have got it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I get the vibe, like, maybe YK Kim had his finger on the pulse of, like, youth culture, and he's like, yeah, these kids are into this new cool thing. Let's get them in the movie.
It could be it was just the random kids he hired to be in the scene. We're doing it. And he's like, I don't know, just film what they're doing.
Yeah, maybe.
So sometimes you have to give YK Kim the benefit of the doubt, though. So let's believe that he did have his finger on his pulse.
Yeah.
Not his pulse, the pulse. And he was referencing Once Upon a Time in the West to the start of the minute as well.
I think so. It seems too much, too obvious.
But yeah, I mean, I'm noted out for this. For just noticing too that it's like an hour 17 or whatever on at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the only other, I tried to get anything I could from the commentary track, but there wasn't really anything new. They were just reiterating previous points, like how Dexy was a federal prosecutor at the time of filming, which is always funny to remind you of.
Yeah, then lost his job for accusations of whatnot.
Yeah, they don't go into that, unsurprisingly, on the commentary track. But yeah, the guy interviewing them does find that funny. He's like, "Oh, isn't it hilarious that you would, be doing that job and then come down and do this?" Like, yeah, it's hilarious.
Just imagine him in court though, just be like, Your Honor, this son of a bitch.
Yeah, he got so into the character. That's why he got fired. He got so into the character that when he was in court, he was calling everyone a son of a bitch.
It's storming on to I lost my case to this guy, and then I tried for a retrial, and he beat me again. Now I'll give you all my lawyer money just to let me beat up this guy.
Oh, bless. No, I respect it. He's got this big job, probably well paid, but he still wants to come and be in this film. Respect.
Well, I think he has a vibe that he thinks highly of himself. Again, just from the way he's sitting. So, I think wouldn't have done his ego too much harm, despite the fact he's playing like a character whose ego takes so many goddamn knocks in this movie.
But on that note, yes, I am noted out as well. Should we break the connection?
I believe we should.
We will break it once more, listeners. As usual, speak to us on Facebook at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage. Look us up on all of them: Twitter, Instagram, Threads. We're on everything. And our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon and TeePublic. If you want bonus stuff and or merchandise, you can get it all. You can get none of it. If you get none of it, we hate you. Get it all, then we love you. And you want us to love you, don't you? You want us to be essentially your kind of long-distance lovers. And if you buy 4 T-shirts, I will let you call me that. It has to be 4 T-shirts at once, though. 4 at once, and then you are free to call me your lover.
I'm not commenting on any of this. It's like whatever John's saying this does not represent my my official positions.
Yeah, you only need one of us. So if I'm up for it, there you are. And do join us again. That's a prerequisite as well. You've got to join us again in 1 week's time for minute 49 of Miami Minutes. You son of a bitch! You're dead meat!
Listen to me!